when Christopher Columbus discovered about America discovery has given a wide range of scope because we got the abundant land, the new varieties of crops, the minerals, which gave a scope for large number of countries to come and occupy them. And as the availability of land is more, the number of people are very less. Most of the people who are living in America are the people those who have got migrated from European countries, or they were picked up as slaves from Africa. So that has given a trade and lives for the people in America. The other major interesting point what we have is America not only had this, and today America we call as United States of America, but Christopher Columbus discovered America, which is a very large continent comprising of North American continent. So according to him, America means Canada, USA, Mexico and countries like Peru, all the Caribbean islands together he called it as America. So the minerals, the metals which are available in Peru and Mexico were also gathered by the European countries, and they actually worked as an input for the countries to occupy the countries in Asia. So European countries need funds. The funds are being supported by the minerals and metals which are available in America, especially in the countries like Peru and Mexico. So these countries started to make the European countries to become rich, wealthy. Then automatically they started to buy the latest equipped weapons, boats, army, and start to attack the other colonial countries in Asia and Africa. So their kingdom of colonial empire started to flourish and become larger and larger because of the support what they are getting from Peru and Mexico lands. And America has been a source for the slaves. They started need slaves because they need to do agriculture. There the basic European people do not have much stamina to work hard because they do not get much exposed to sunlight. When it comes to Africans basically are thick-skinned people because they experience heavy amount of sun rays. Their skin is completely dark toned and even their hair gets curled up because of the extreme heat what they do. So that nature of the Africans makes them to do lot of hard work. That inherits the capacity for them to do lot of hard work, which is required for the Americans to do in their crops and fields. That is a basic reason why Americans are very much interested to have slaves from African countries. Then moving on to the other point, what we have, the legends of South America, especially those who have heard about the fabulous city, the city of enormous wealth, that is none other than the city in South America, that is El Dorado. El Dorado has been fabled of city of gold. So people started to move in search of gold to that particular city to identify the city and to do the mining to acquire gold from there. That's how people started to move towards South America also. So North America and South America are being occupied by people. And then we have the Spanish conquerors who are very clever and extraordinary people. Why did I use the words like very clever and extraordinary people? Because Spanish people are able to control Brazil for more than 100 years. And it's very easy for them actually because they never used to fight with guns or weapons. Why not guns and weapons? Because if you carry guns that can be identified by the people, local people, they may understand that you are coming into their kingdom to occupy the kingdom. But the Spanish people used to carry not the weapons but the germs with them. Yes, what you heard is right. The germs, the diseases. So Spanish people used to carry the germs like smallpox, and smallpox has been a deadly killer. There is no medicine for smallpox. So the long installation and lack of immunity. The basic people of Americans are the people those who got migrated from Europe, as I told you just now. So these people do not get exposed to much to sunlight, so they do not have much of the immunity power. So when it comes to the Spanish people introducing the disease of smallpox, because of the lack of immunity, these people are becoming weak and killing themselves, or they are being killed because of the dreadful disease. Because of this dreadful disease, the most capable people are being killed or vanished away from the place. Obviously, it becomes very easy for the conqueror to occupy that place. That's what it rightly mentioned by the writer John Withrop, who mentioned that blessings for the colonists. Smallpox has been a blessing for the colonists by the God by clearing the lands and making it possible for them to occupy the lands. These all possibilities made the Spanish people to expand their colonial kingdom to various corners of the world. This is how they used to do the biological warfare. Even today, we are scared to listen the word like biological warfare, where people do not fight or countries do not fight with military, with arms, with nuclear weapons, but they just simply introduced a chemical or a germ into the community, which later on passes through the other people, and later on it becomes a deadly disease in the country, which automatically ruins the economy, which automatically ruins the people's living standard there. That's what the Spanish people have done way back, and they have targeted the colonies, and they were very successful in achieving their targets. This is a very difficult point to accept, but it is a fact which we need to understand that. And as we move on, other than that, the countries like China and India are considered to be the richest countries during that period up to 18th century. So that's the fundamental point which made the European countries to find out the sea routes to India, to find out all other possibilities to reach to India and Asia, because China and India are the filthy rich countries till that time, and China has been restricting the overseas trade, doing very limited trade, which also made the possibility of lack of income for the people in the West. So they need the other possible opportunities for them to get involved in that and to fight and get their freedom of trade. So once we get trade, we can flourish. This is the underlying concept between them, and to explore the richness to web, gold, metals and all these things from India and in China, that made the other countries to fall on a fray towards India or towards Asia. Let us look at some of the key points which are in Europe. If you take guns and move on, it is very easy for the enemies to identify it and they would like to destroy it. But if a disease is taken with some people who are deceased, we cannot identify what is the actual problem. And by the time you identify that one, the entire country would be in trouble, which automatically cleans off the most capable person and makes it easy for the conquerors to occupy the lands. The next most interesting fact in Europe is that poverty and hunger are in Europe till the later part of the 19th century. And not only this, they also have the deadly diseases widespread and religious conflicts. So 18th century has also brought the new concept of slaves from Africa. As I told you before, we need strong people who can do hard work and withstand with the hot sun, which is not possible for the Europeans nor for the Americans, because Europeans are the people those who got migrated to America also. So it's not possible for neither for the Europeans nor for the Americans to do a lot of hard work by withstanding in the hot sun and working in the large fields. So the best possible alternative for them is to explore the slaves, bring the African thick-skinned people who can do a lot of hard work even in the withstanding hot sun. So get them, brand them as slaves and force them to work for a long period and earn huge profits. This is the possible alternative what the Europeans and the Americans thought during that time. And by 18th and 19th centuries, they were able to capture many of the slaves from Africa and put them into the agricultural field works and started to produce cotton and sugar in very large scale market. So that's how the changes have been occurred, and the conquest, the diseases and the trades. So this is a brief recap. Let's have a brief look at the points now. World has been shook off when the new discovery of sea route, the news has spread to the entire Europeans. They always tried to explore the countries in Asia and Africa as soon as possible. The reason for that, as I told you before, China and India are branded as the richest countries till the 18th century. So possible to get all the wealths and explore all of them and occupy the countries and try to squeeze their wealth. The possibilities of the Europeans were always to gather the wealth. And next, Indian Ocean has been always bustling with the trades of goods, people, knowledge and customs. As the time passed on, with the discovery of America, abundant land and crop minerals, which made the people to explore towards America, and at the same time possibility of the trade of the people, for making them to move towards America, picking up the people from Africa and sending them to America. And the precious metals which are available in Peru and Mexico, which financed the countries of Europe during that time, because they need huge investments in order to go for a long voyages towards the east. That fund has been raised from the precious stones and metals which they were able to collect from Peru and Mexico. That's how the European countries got much benefited from the new discovered land, America. And then the legends were in the race to find out the most fabulous city of gold, that is El Dorado in South America, which also made the possibility of exploring South America and later on occupying South American countries. So that's how the colonial system expanded to a very larger scale, and the concept of diseases enters here. Spanish kings or the conquerors, instead of carrying guns, metals, weapons and everything, they used to carry the diseased people who are filled with germs, and they introduced the smallpox disease to the place where they need to occupy that one. And this has been a very deadly disease, and the people not having any proper idea how to save themselves from the smallpox, and there is anyway no possible medicine available to them at that time. So thousands of people used to disappear because of this deadly disease. Automatically the land would be cleared. It becomes very easy for the conquerors to occupy that particular land. Target will be fulfilled. That is the reason why John Withrop has rightly explained that smallpox has been the blessings for the colonists, and it's a path of the way which has been given by the God himself by clearing the places and making the people to be the number in less. And the next, why did the people move towards India and China? Because in Europe we have poverty and hunger. In order to solve these problems, they need to find out and acquire more wealth, and they are already struggling with deadly diseases and with religious conflicts. So they need to find out some countries which are filthy rich to solve their economic crisis or problems or poverty and hunger. That's how they have searched for countries like Africa, India and China, which already gave an alternative for them to do hard work in America by the people of Africa known as slaves. So that's the momentum which have generated the slave trade during that time. Automatically the metal trade, minerals trade, gold trade and other products trade. By occupying them, colonized, conquest, spread of the diseases to various corners of the world. All these things are being interlinked with the main concept of trade. And by the end of the 18th century, cotton and sugar are being produced for the European markets by the African slaves, by the European countries. That's what have been a fabulous change of trade from the initial stages to the modernness.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.